This is the last bad Thursday night game before Fox takes over, and then they become good. This is Cincinnati. Do you guys like, I think I asked, who did I ask? I like some, do you guys like when they pair the bad teams against each other? Because they have to run every team in prime time, right? Whether it's Monday night or Thursday night. So is it good to get them out of the way, or would you rather see like Kansas City against the Jaguars?
Why not? Look, it's Sal. There's no bad game in the NFL.
There you go.
Why not play Thursday night? We're going to tune in. Tell me you're not going to watch the game tomorrow.
It was a trick question.
You're not going to watch the game tomorrow.
You answered correctly. That's exactly right. All right. Either way, this game sucks. Cincinnati 7.5, 46.5. We suggest you do all your betting at FanDuel.com/against-all-odds. I'm going Jaguars plus 7.5. I don't usually love the rookie quarterback on the road this early in the year, especially one that's thrown 7 picks through 3 games. But let's face it, as fluky as their score was early on, they had a 9-point lead, the Jaguars did, against Arizona in the third quarter. Now 5 sacks against the Bengals, 5 sacks in game 2, none last week. I think they revert to the normal Bengals. The offensive line gives in a little. Josh Allen already has 2. Yes, different Josh Allen on the Jaguars. I think Miles Jack makes some noise. I don't love Zach Taylor laying this many points as a coach. I really don't. Not that Urban Meyer's been lighting it up, but 7.5, I think, is a good number to take. Trevor Lawrence gets revenge from the January 2020 game and loses 26-21, but covers the spread. Parlay Kid, you with me on the plus 7.5?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think you're on the money here, Sal. Something tells me that Trevor Lawrence is going to play his best game as a pro here in game number 4. I think he's going to be efficient. I think he's going to avoid turnovers. And I think we're going to see a heavy dose of James Robinson, who's averaging over 5 yards a carry. This guy does nothing but gain yards when he touches the ball. Let's get him the ball a little bit more, take a little pressure off Trevor Lawrence. Part of that is they got to get a lead and play with the lead. And I do think 7.5 is a little too much with the Cincinnati team, who they're 2-1, but I don't think they've looked really great as of yet. And I just think that Lawrence is ready to step up. He has not played that poorly. He's just got to eliminate a turnover or 2 here or there.
I do.
And he can keep this team in the game.
What are you talking about?
What's
he
that?
Hasn't looked that terrible. He's been horrendous.
Horrendous is the wrong word.
Use another word, Harry.
He allowed Byron Murphy to be defensive player of the week in the NFC with his 2 picks against him and a pick 6. Come on, D.
I don't know. I agree. I think he's only going to get better this game. I don't love. Guess who a cornerback is for Cincinnati? Eli Apple starts, and their other 2 are like not even in the top 40 ranked PFF, the corners. I think this is a good game, good spot for Trevor Lawrence. All right, Harry, you're laying the points. You're comfortable. Minus 7.5. I mean, what are the odds 2 Thursday night games in a row? We got the Panthers cover 8, and then Cincy covers 7.5. That would be odd, wouldn't it?
I hear you. You're kind of right there, but still, I think the jungle is going to be back as of tomorrow night. Burrow's been good. Chase has been fantastic. And everyone wants to talk about how their defense always usually stinks. Well, after 3 weeks, they're 8th in yards against, 6th in points allowed, 4th in sacks. Their pickup of Trey Hendrickson from New Orleans is paying off. He's got 2.5 sacks. And again, Lawrence, 54% completion percentage, Parlay Kid, 7 picks, 1 for a pick 6. They're 27th in passing. Chase, Boyd, and Higgins have 7 touchdowns combined. Mixon's having a big year. Cincy, new regime. Look at Cincy usually doesn't get it done against Pittsburgh. They basically beat Pittsburgh for 60 minutes last week. They controlled the entire game. Different team here, Cincy. Jungle starts rocking, lay the 7.5.
Oh, the jungle. By the way, the jungle might be rocking, but I hear a dog barking in the background, which leads me to believe we're on the right side here, Parlay Kid, with the plus 7.5. Brother Bry, I don't know. This is why I like the underdog here. Like, no one's as good or bad as they were the week before, right? So Cincinnati, oh my God, they beat Pittsburgh. What they're all of a sudden, could they make the playoffs? Could they get that second place in the AFC North? Like, all right, everyone calm down a little bit. And not that there's a lot of reason to believe in the Jaguars, but 7.5 is just too damn many for this coach, especially.
Yeah, it's a lot. It really is a lot. Look, we all love Burrow, but this line is way too high. This is a team that's only been favored 4 times since Zach Taylor's been the head coach, and they're 1-3 against the spread as a favorite. This is the first time they're favored by this much since 2017. So it's a little too early, like you said, to start touting them as legit. What I found interesting when you look back at some of these games, the Bengals are like bottom 3 in total plays run. They have a lot of 3-and-outs. They're only averaging 23 points per game. I know they won against the Bears and the Steelers, but if you're averaging 23 points per game, laying 7.5 here is a lot. And I don't know. It doesn't make me feel like they can score enough to just blow Jacksonville out. And Urban Meyer's got to show some pride here. And even if he loses this game, he's got to cover. He's got to cover this number. I think the Jags too. They last year as dogs of 7 or more, they were road dogs of 7 or more. They were 4-2 against the spread too. So there's decent numbers. I know it's a completely different team, but 7.5 is just too high.
Completely different team. And I know this ages back many, 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 many years, but 10-16, I think they are against the spread after playing the Steelers. So, and most of those, I'm sure they got slaughtered. So this is a different story, a little bit of a hangover here. 3-day rest. Who the hell knows in this game? I would take the points plus 7.5. It's going to be interesting. It's not going to be interesting, but the Bengals on a teaser is probably fine. And we're going to get to probably 11 games, I think it is, on our Friday edition of Against All Odds. But right now, we're just going to cover this one. I'll tell you, I have a great teaser in mind for you'll listen on Friday for Sunday's games. All right, the Thursday night prop. I'm doubling down on this, Harry. This Trevor Lawrence having a good game. No interceptions is plus 140. I know he has 7.
There we go.
3, 2, and 2. Not great. He's got to get lucky one of these games. Marvin Jones, DJ Chark, I think they have an easier time. Awuzie has a groin injury. He's out. Like I said, Eli Apple, I believe, is in there. A lot of snaps on his side. Obviously you could get unlucky with a tip pass or something. Not that that's been the case 7 times. He's not been great, Trevor Lawrence. I think this is the game, though. Give me plus money and the Thursday night prop. I won my Monday night prop that went over easily with Pollard over 30.5 yards. I'm going Thursday. No interception. Plus 140. Parlay Kid, you won your Monday prop too, right?
Yes, I did, Sal. Things have been rolling for me here. I'm going to go with something on the same side you're talking about here with the Jags, even though I'm not saying the Jags are going to win the game. I just think this is a team that's got some talent. One guy we haven't seen blossom in year 2, I thought he came on really towards the second half of the year last year, was Laviska Shenault from the Jags as a receiver. So I think he's ready to have a big game. He actually has gone, I'm taking him over 40.5 receiving yards. He's gone over this number twice already. He hasn't had that big game yet. He had 50 yards and I think 48 yards in 2 of the first 3 games. But he has been targeted 21 times. He's a great runner with the ball. I think they're going to be having Lawrence throw a little shorter passes, get him the ball, and make him into a running back once he has the ball. I think he goes over this 40.5. He's going to end up with 5, 6, 7 catches this week in this game tomorrow night. So I like this one with Shenault. He's a good receiver. He has been underused so far in this offense.
All right, there you go. Shenault over 40.5. Brother Brian, you have a receiver targeted here. On the other side, Cincinnati's Jamar Chase, right now in first, right there, top of the leaderboard, odds-wise for Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I have him over 25.5 longest reception. So this bet to me seems like a steal. So Burrow and Chase have had this nice history together, right? Going back to LSU. Chase so far this season has a long catch. His longest catch in each of the 3 games is 34 yards, 42 yards, and 50 yards. Even if you go back to LSU, obviously the big plays between Burrow and Chase. They connected on a pass of 30. I know I'm going back to LSU, but they connected on a pass of 35 yards or longer in 7 of their last 8 games there. Chase just makes a lot of big plays. And, against the Jacksonville team who's been giving up the 5th most passing yards in the NFL, they just traded CJ Henderson. So you don't really know. I don't know who's covering Chase in the back end there. So I think he should make one big play. I know Burrow's going to look a few different times over 25.5. I really love that
We
one.
haven't seen the Chase drops that we've been promised.
No, they told us.
Maybe that's coming. We'll see. Harry, you're going Cincinnati player. Obviously, you're all over the Bengals here.
Yeah, I'm going to take Joe Mixon over 84.5 rushing yards at -113. Derrick Henry, number 1 rusher in the NFL. Not too many people would say Joe Mixon's number 2, but he is. He's averaging 93 yards a carry. And his only 100-yard game last season happened upon playing the Jags, where he had 25 carries for 151 yards. Joe Mixon, over 84.5 rushing yards at -113.
I never win with that guy. If I draft him, I never win with him in a fantasy. If I bet him, I never win. We're going to make it a little more difficult and tell you who the first touchdown scorer is. Parlay Kid, you mentioned James Robinson. I don't see why not at getting almost 10-1 odds, plus 950 at 21 touches to Carlos Hyde's 8. So he's their guy. No doubt there. 15 for 88 and a touchdown last week. If they get down low, he's getting the ball. I really think so. If you can get 10-1 odds on either running back to get the ball and go and score first, I think you got to do it. James Robinson's my guy.
Yeah.
Parlay Kid, who are you going with?
I agree with that, Sal. I'm not taking him because you're taking him, and we like to kind of spread the wealth here. But I do like him too. Anytime touchdown score at plus 160 tomorrow too. So I like him to score.
Okay.
So let's root for him to score first. But I'm going to mention, go with the guy I just talked about in Chenault. He's 22-1 to score the first touchdown. He's dangerous on these short catches because he runs the ball really well, so well that they were considering him putting him in the backfield this season a little bit too. So they know he's a big guy. He's a force. I could see him catching a short pass by the goal line, taking it across. And at 22-1, he has had 21 targets this year in 3 games. I think it's good value for him. And I'll roll the dice at it on it.
There you go. All right, brother Bry. We all like that. We alternate, you and I, between, who's going to take the quarterback to score the first touchdown. This is rushing it in. I don't mind this either. Trevor Lawrence, first touchdown, 19-1.
I like the quarterbacks. Burrow, I guess you can't rely on him because, the whole shattered leg thing. But yeah, Lawrence at 19-1. By the way, Parlay Kid should have hit last week, Monday with CeeDee Lamb. Just missed out on that one.
But also, wait, am I crazy, or was Dak the next one? What happened? No, Dak wasn't. When Dak wasn't in, that wasn't going to be. No, that was for anytime touchdown, right? I lost money on that. That sucked. He was definitely in. Can we get that right already? Can we get that right? I was telling these guys.
My gosh, right? Imagine.
Yeah, it makes me not like New York. They're like, hey, we're going to New York. I'm like, oh, screw New York. They keep screwing this up. What's going on in New York? Like, just get the camera angles that we're all seeing.
That made no sense. I know we're going on a tangent here, but you can't use that angle from up above. Isn't that technically the best angle?
Yeah, I would think so.
I mean, that was ridiculous.
It's not that hard to piece together. If his waist is over the goal line, right? The rest of his torso is not doing like a limbo backward, right? Like that. It makes sense that it has to be forward there. They have to change the standard. It can't be 100% clear and convincing proof on the referee's already shitty call. Like, that's not good. Like, make it 70%. Really should be 51%, but make it 70%. Doesn't have to be 100. But anyway, you're right. We're off on a tangent. Brother Bry, did you finish your thing with Lawrence?
No, that's okay. But yeah, 19-1. I think one of the biggest problems right now with Jaguars offense is Lawrence really isn't running the ball at all. He's forcing these throws. And I think that's going to change a little bit here since he's been struggling so far. But let's not forget, this is a guy who's had, in his last 2 seasons at Clemson, had 17 rushing touchdowns in the last 2 seasons. So it's going to come sooner or later. If you told me through 3 games, I would have guessed he would have had one already, 1 rushing touchdown. He's going to get one, and he's going to get a couple this season. I like it happening early in this game.
We liked Furman recommended that to us. The over, he's like, I know you don't like overs for player props for preseason, but Trevor Lawrence going into the year was 3.5, the over-under for rushing touchdowns. It would make sense that he gets it here. All right, Harry, we know you're all Bengals.
Yeah, I'm going to take wide receiver Tyler Boyd at plus 650. Leads Cincinnati in targets and receptions. He had a 72-yard touchdown for the first touchdown of the game last season versus the Dolphins, and he had the first touchdown of the game last week versus Pittsburgh. So let's take a shot with Boyd for a back-to-back.
Wow. All right. There you go. Hey, we'll be back tomorrow where we preview 11 games, I believe, right? 7 pro, 4 college, against all odds, the weekend edition. Come back tomorrow, Friday. In the meantime, go to extrapoints.com/arcade. Play all our free-to-play games. It's going to be fun. And for Mikey Meatballs, Eddie Spaghetti, Babyface Joel Salmon, and the Degenerate Trifecta, I'm Sal saying so long and happy handicapping.